Hi and welcome to another tutorial. My name is Jutta. I'm a teacher, illustrator and designer based in Germany. And today you can draw with me a cute sheep in love. All right, let's just jump in. As you can see, I've already opened a sketch in a new canvas. I made sure you can download both the sketch and the color palette I'm using by just following the link in the description box to make it easier for you. But of course, feel free to draw your own sketch and create your own color palette. That's your choice, no problem at all. So we have our little sheep here and it's in love with a little flower. We have trees and a background and a little hill. And the brushes I'm using for this tutorial are again the brushes from my class Master Shading in Procreate, Draw a Furry Monster. So you find my class either on Skillshare or on Udemy, which is new. I now offer this class also on Udemy as a single class, so there's no subscription for you. You just buy the one single class and you can work with it. And of course, the brushes and all the other resources are on Udemy as well as on Skillshare. So go and check that out. And if you're interested in the brushes only, without taking a class, please let me know, as I'm still thinking about putting all my brush sets from my classes on Creative Market if there is a high demand. Just let me know in the comments. All right, so let's get started. As usual, we start from the back and layer up towards the front. And I will just quickly show you. I made myself, quite helpful, I made myself a color rough, which I might refer back and forth. This is just a simple scribble to just help me distribute the colors evenly. So let's turn that off for now. Add a new layer and we're gonna add it on the bottom. And the next step I always do is I lower the opacity from my sketch because I find that quite distractive. And I can also turn off the writing. And I will set the blend mode of my sketch layer to multiply so that I can still see those lines even though there's a darker color underneath. All right. And as you can see, we're here on the Juhesch Sheep in Love color palette. And for the background, we're gonna use this light blue tone. Let's just color drop it onto our canvas. All right. On the next layer, we want to start with some texture right away because a light blue background just looks so boring. So I'm gonna add another layer and probably turn the background into linear burn. And then I pick the brush Stripey from my Cute Monsters brush set. And this is where I want to start. And from the bottom towards the top and just draw this stripey texture. And on the next layer, I'm going to do the same, but I turn the blend mode to screen. And then I start from the top. So this gets lighter hues and linear burn gets darker hues. And they are mixing together and just create such a wonderful, textured background. All right, let's move on to the next layer. This is where we will draw our rainbow. The rainbow is the second layer in the back. And we're gonna draw just bold lines, which we then blur with the Gaussian blur function in Procreate. So here's our layer for the rainbow. We go and find the Nice Liner Mono brush and we pick the pink color. And then we make sure we just make the thickness of the brush quite bold. Maybe like this. Let's check how that looks. And then we just draw something like an arch. All right. Next color on the same layer, we pick orange and just draw an arc right next to the pink one. Let it snap And as soon as we let go, there is Edit Arc, which we tap. And then we can move our arc, and we can also move the nodes to make sure that there's no gap in between. Or almost no gap. That's perfect. All right, tap once more and go pick the next color, which is yellow. Of course, you're very welcome to use the colors you want in an order you want. I just kind of want to go natural, although I don't really know if that's the natural order of the rainbow colors. All right, let's go move on to the next color. I guess this time it's going to be green. And the last one's going to be purple. Wonderful. So now we have our rainbow on the same layer, and we're going to go ahead, tap the wand tool and tap Gaussian blur. And now we just swipe our pencil to the right and blur the colors until we like the blurriness. Because a rainbow usually doesn't have like straight, crisp edges, it's quite blurry. And this is what we achieved here. Oh, it looks beautiful. All right, so the rainbow is done. Let's move on to the next layer, which are the clouds. Add another layer, pick the whitish color here, and go to the brushes. And for my clouds, I love to use the fur curly brush here. It creates just super fluffy cotton wool-like edges, and I really like that. And now I just follow the lines of the clouds and fill the clouds. So here are our clouds, and I didn't use the color drop function on purpose because I like that when I fill it manually, I like that then there are some gaps, some whiter areas and some more translucent areas, and this is what really creates like a real cloud. All right, let's give our cloud some shading right away. So we're gonna add another layer on top and turn that into a clipping mask by just tap clipping mask here. And you probably know already, I'm gonna explain once more. A clipping mask ensures you to draw only where there's pixels in the layer the clipping mask is clipped to. So it wouldn't draw here, it would only draw where a cloud is, where the white color of the cloud is. And for my shading, I like to use some sort of a dark grayish purple and my soft shader brush. Here we go. And then I would just go ahead and shade the bottom, shade some in-betweens maybe. And as you can see, I imagine my light coming from this way. So this is the lighter spot of the cloud, and the opposite side is of course the darker one. Let's just quickly turn off the sketch to make sure you can see how gorgeous that looks. Ah, wonderful. I like it. If you would only use like a gray tone, that would make everything super dull and super boring. So I like to use like a tinted shade of a color for my shady areas. All right, on with the sketch. And let's see what's the next layer. The next layer is gonna be the tree trunks, which are super simple to do too. So let's pick a brown color. Oh, I just noticed I didn't give you a brown color, but that's no problem. We have an orange here, and we just move the slider towards the center and towards the bottom. Kind of like here. This is where you find the brown shades in our color wheel. So orange, and then you move the circle towards the center and towards the bottom. All right, let's just add it to our orange. And now you can see it looks super brown. And we go back, add another layer, and pick our nice liner mono. For me, tree trunks are just kind of straight lines. I show you. I'm just gonna draw a straight line like this. And then I'm gonna draw another one, maybe a little smaller, like this. And I also like to add a big contrast between like a very thin tree trunk and a very bold, like a crown. And on the next layer, we're gonna turn into a clipping mask. We're gonna set the blend mode to linear burn again to get a darker shade. And we go back to our stripy brush and reduce its size. And then we just draw some stripes downwards. And we make sure, like here below the crown, there's also like a little bit of a darker area because the crown throws a shadow onto the tree trunk. Add another layer, turn it into a clipping mask, change the blend mode to screen, and then we add with the same brush, we just add some highlights here and there. Let me turn off the sketch and show you from close by. And here we have something like a bark-like texture right away. How simple is that? All right, sketch on. Let's move on to the next layer and draw the tree crowns, which are gonna be green. And we're gonna start with the green color. And we pick our nice liner mono brush again. Turn down its size a little bit. And then just draw like a perfect circle. And let it snap. Put our finger on screen. And then we just fill it with color. And we're gonna do the same here. Fill it with color. Next step, and on the same layer, we want to pick the fur curly or fur medium curly brush again to just give the trees also like a little bit of a fuzzy outline. I'm going to increase the size a little bit, and I went with fur curly. And now I'm just going to go all around the circles here to make the outline a little bit fuzzy. So cute already. Okay, on the next layers we're gonna spread the shading of our trees. So let's add another layer, turn it into a clipping mask. And I'm gonna increase the size of the brush a little bit. I'm still on my fur curly brush. And I'm gonna change the blend mode to linear burn. And let's just see how we like the green tone. Green can be a little bit tricky. So since we said the light source is coming this way, we have to have the darker areas of our trees here in that area, and the lightest spots are kind of here. And I'm making sure right away that where this apples or cherries or whatever the fruits are gonna be, where these are, I'm gonna make it darker underneath right away, just to save me some time. But it's a bit hard to see right now, so I'm gonna bump up the opacity of my sketch a little bit. So that's better. I'm just gonna shade underneath the fruits right away, because the fruits are gonna throw a shadow as well. All right, and on the next layer, we're gonna do the same just with the highlights. So we turn the layer into a clipping mask and go and turn the blend mode to screen and see how we like that. And then I'm just gonna start here on the lightest spot, moving my way out and just blend it into the darker area. So I might go ahead and add another white color highlight. And if we're not happy because we think it's too bright or too bold or whatever, we can play around with the opacity and just turn down the opacity of this layer a little bit. And then we have two supernatural looking trees here. All right, awesome. So let's move on to the next layer, which is gonna be the grass. We add another layer. We pick the light green shade here. And then this time, we're gonna pick the Fur Medium brush. Fur Medium. And this is what we're gonna use to just indicate the grass tops. However, the brush size is too small. So let's turn it a bit bigger and just and as soon as we're sure that there's no gap in the outline, we can just throw in the color. And also here, we're gonna start the shading process right away. So we add another layer, turn it into a clipping mask, and set the blend mode to linear burn again. You could also go and try multiply or color dodge, whatever you like. And you just check if you're happy with the shading, with the shade it's creating. All right, and here we just add like the darker area on the bottom. Ooh, I like this May green. That looks so cute. And I'm again making sure that the bottom is a bit darker and the top is going to be lighter, but we also have a darker spot here below our cute sheepy and also below the flower. And from the top towards the bottom, we're going to fade in some highlights. Again, add a layer, turn it into a clipping mask, and set the blend mode to screen. And then we check if we like it. All right. This looks so cute. I love it. Okie dokie. So we're ready for the flowers spread in the grass, but maybe to help with the flowers, we're going to indicate some shade underneath them as well as we did here with the fruits in the trees. So I'm going to make some darker spots underneath. And I guess in my color rough, I decided they're going to be yellow. I might want to go with red instead, I guess. They make a nicer contrast. So I'm going to add another layer, turn off my color rough, and pick our reddish color here. And then I go to the nice liner mono and I just draw like tiny little circles here. And on the next layer, I want to give them a little bit of a shading too. A clipping mask, linear burn, go to I guess I'm going to go with the stripy one this time. Turn the size really small and just indicate some shading here and there. Maybe we need to pick a different tone. Let's see. Let's erase that once more. Let's go with our brown instead and see how that looks. Yeah, that gives a little bit of a darker bottom here and there. Just some stripes, just to get rid of this digital look. Let's move on to our little sheep friend here and the flower. So in the back of the sheep must be its torso, like this cloud-like thingy in the back. And towards the front we have the face and its hair here on top. So let's create another layer for its torso. I'm gonna pick the whitish color. By the way, I don't really like to use like a real white color because that's usually too bright and too harsh for my eyes. So I like to tone it down with a little bit of a yellowish hint, but very subtle though. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the curly brush and draw the outline of my sheep. And this time the curls can be a bit bigger, because my sheep is supposed to be really fluffy. Yes, very cute. I like that. All right, so give this a little bit of a shading right away. We're gonna add a clipping mask, and this time I might want to go with a gray greenish kind of color, because the grass is throwing a shadow and it turns it like a little bit greenish. But I think we need to turn down the brush size a little bit. And this time I want to add some white color, like pure white, to just indicate some highlights. By tapping twice here in this whitish area, it's gonna snap to a pure white. And this is what I can add then. And if we think the contrasts are too harsh, we just play with the opacity and turn them down a little bit. That looks good for now. All right. Let's move on to the next layer, which is gonna be its face with the ears. And the face and the ears are gonna get this tiny light pink color here. And I'm gonna go back to my nice liner mono. I'm not really sure if it's gonna work with the ears on the head right away. We need to check if we can work with the shading so that we can indicate like some depth even though it's all on the same layer. So that's the head. Let's add another layer on top, turn it into a clipping mask and change the blend mode to linear burn. And now we're gonna go ahead and use the soft shader brush, and we try indicating some shade. All right, so here's probably the darkest spot. I just want to erase this line here between its face and the ear to help us staying in one layer. Let me turn off the sketch to see if that has worked. Yes, now we can distinguish. There's the ear and it's behind because we see the shadow, and We need to do the same with this ear here. Since we didn't add any texture to our sheep's head, it looks quite digital, and this is nothing I really like. So I'm gonna add another layer underneath, right on top of the head of our sheep. Turn that into linear burn as well. And then pick one of my gorgeous texture colors here. I guess I might go with, let's try coarse. And just add some subtle texture here. No, I don't like the look here. What about grunge? Let's go with grunge and see how that looks. Yes, that gives a little bit of a subtle hint. I'm just going to turn down the opacity. So now we have some darker areas and some lighter areas, and it doesn't look that digital any longer. That's really nice. So its face needs eyes, of course, like the little snout here and the cheeks. So I'm gonna pick the black color, go back to my nice liner mono and turn the size really small. And then I'm gonna give him his eyes. If you struggle like me sometimes getting twice the same size, you just copy one of the eyes, that's no problem. Ah, so cute. So we need to add some shading underneath our eyes. So let's go back to the darker shadow layer and pick the soft shader. So this is gonna be darker here. And we also didn't add any highlights yet, so we need to do that too. So let's add another layer, turn it into a clipping mask, set the blend mode to screen, and then start with highlighting. So just now the eyes look super hollow and not really vivid, so let's take care of that too. We add another layer, and this time I'm gonna change the blend mode to multiply, turn it into a clipping mask. Am I still on my soft shader? Yes, I am. And then I pick my black color and just make it darker around the edges. You can't see much as of yet, but on the next step, let's add another layer, clipping mask again, pick our white color, brush size small, we just add some highlight. And with our nice liner mono, we add some tiny dots. And for the cheeks, we're just gonna use the red color, go back to the eyes and mouth layer, pick the soft shader brush, bump up the brush size a little bit, and this just tap a few times here, but that might be too big. Let's turn off the sketch and check. Ah, adorable. Adorable, although I think we need some more refinements here around its face. So let's go back to the linear burn layer. And I guess this time I want to pick the brown color. I'm still with the soft shader. I just want to have it like a bit darker here around the bottom to create a better contrast. And I'm going to erase what I've added here. And that's the problem now, you see what I mean? Now I erased all the shading there, but that's no problem. I'm just gonna add it once more. Like this, some here and some there. Yeah, that looks way better. More three-dimensional. And I guess on the next layer, on the highlights layer, I want to add some reflected light here, just to create some contrast. Ah, super cute, our sheep. Very nice. Of course, it's still missing his hairdo, so let's add another layer on top. Turn on our sketch again and go back to our fur curly brush. And with like a little bit of a smaller size, I'm gonna add, oops, am I on the same color? No, I need to go back to my creamish white and draw its hair here. All right, now let's add 2 clipping masks. Turn the bottom one into linear burn and pick our gray greenish color again. And on the next layer, we're gonna go with our white-ish. I still have it here. If you don't have the history here, that's no problem. You just tap twice into this white area to get the white color. And then we mark highlights here. Also to create some contrast between its body. All right, we're almost there, you guys. Okay, behind the sheep, we need the back feet. So let's add them, let's say, on top of the grass. So here's our grass hill layer, the last one of the flowers. And then below the torso of our sheep, I'm gonna add another layer. Pick our dark color and just go and draw its legs here. And here also I really like the contrast between like really skinny legs and a fluffy, thick, big body. And the front legs are, of course, in front of its body. And I guess we can put them on the same layer as the face. Ah, so cute, little sheep. Yeah, I know your companion, the flower, is still missing. So let's add that. And we need to add a little bit of a shading to its hoofs because otherwise they look super digital. So we're here on the shading, on the clipping mask on top of the face and hoof layer. And I'm gonna pick the soft shader brush. And I'm just gonna indicate just a tiny tad of a highlight here. Of course, it's not working on the back feet because they're not on this layer. Yeah, that's all right. So cute. Let's see, let's add another layer on the back feet. Clipping mask and just add some tiny tad of a highlight. All right, some texture helps so much. Look, just the flower and our hearties here are missing. So let's go on, turn on our sketch, go find the green, the darkish green here, go get the nice liner mono, add another layer on top of everything. Make the leaves nice and pointy. On the next layer, we want to add some texture. So I'm going to add a clipping mask, turn the blend mode to linear burn, and go find my stripey brush and just add some subtle texture. And on the layer on top, we're gonna draw the petals, and I guess I want our flower to be pink. Let's go with pink. Let's go with the nice liner mono. And also here we're gonna add some texture. So add a layer on top. Turn the blend mode to linear burn, turn it into a clipping mask, go find the stripey brush and just draw some subtle textures here and there. On the next layer, we add some highlights, clipping mask, screen blend mode. Next layer, the center here, we're gonna turn yellow. Find the nice liner mono and draw like a nice dome here. But I guess this is not in the center. All right, add a layer, turn it into a clipping mask, blend mode to linear burn. And this time, I guess I want to pick again the grunge texture brush, give it some texture. And on the next layer, which I also turn into linear burn, I want to give it some stripy texture as well. Just here around the bottom and on the top, some highlights. All right, let's turn off our sketch and see how it looks so far. Oh man, it is so cute. Adorable. Yeah. So we still need the hearts. You can also add the butterflies and whatever else you think is missing. And I also saw we missed the fruits of our trees. Oh, we need to do them too. We can do them all on the same layer. So I'm gonna add the hearts now, the fruits here on this tree and the fruits there. So we can save a few layers. All right. Add another layer. And now I guess I want to pick my red color, turn on the sketch, and we're going to start with our hearts. Let's see, now we need to pick the nice liner mono brush once more. Let's see if we need to take care of the edges, make them really pointy, because I don't like those kind of blobby ends usually. Sketch on once more to see our fruits. And this time we can just make our brush like really big and just tap to add the fruits here onto our tree. You can do whatever you want. You can add flowers, you could add another type of fruits. I just wanted to go with this one here. All right, let's see about the butterflies. What color did I mean to give them? This one is purple and this one is pink. All right, we can do that too. Okay, and on the next layer, we're gonna add the shading. Turn it into a clipping mask. Turn it into linear burn blend mode. And then I think I want to pick the purple color and just check and see how that looks as a shading. Oh yes, it creates a very nice dark shading. But not with this brush. We're on the wrong brush. So let's go and pick our soft shader. You could also go with the stripey and just turn it really small. And on the next layer, we're gonna turn the blend mode into screen again and pick our light color and just give the highlights. I guess I want to add some more texture here to the flowers. I'm gonna add another layer, turn that into linear burn once more, and I guess I want to go with the red color. And this time I want to pick my sketcher brush, which is basically something like a pencil, and I just want to indicate some lines here. Some texture makes it much nicer. And also our butterflies need a body. So let's turn on the sketch once more and pick the black color. And now you guys, we are done. How cute is that? It looks fantastic. So I hope you liked my video, you liked the tutorial. Let me know if you have interest in my brushes or my other classes. By following the links in the description box, you will get a special discount for my classes. So just go ahead and check them out. And don't forget to like my video, to subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends if you like the content to help my channel to grow. And show your work on Instagram or Facebook, tagging me. You'll find my handles in the description box as well. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Happy drawing and see you in my next tutorial. Bye!